To whom it may concern. How do you start one of these? My name is Donna Bellinger, and I know what happened to Barry Pomeroy. This is my confession. Barry was my producer on Miss Rainbow's Berry Patch, the show I created and star in. The show was in trouble, financially and critically. I saw the writing on the wall, heard the rumblings from the studio. I knew I was on the chopping block. On Friday, April 12th, we had a short shooting day, and the rest of the crew was leaving early. Barry reached out to me via email that morning about staying later to talk about things. He knew that I already knew what the meeting was about. He wanted to have a face-to-face, so I began planning. We wrapped around 2:30 p.m. I told Barry I had to run a few errands, but I'd be back later to chat. I drove my car out of the studio parking lot around 3 p.m. I drove to my usual smoothie shop and parked in the paid lot nearby, making sure I kept the receipts for my alibi. Shortly after, I took a taxi back to the studio, dropping me off a few blocks away in case anyone saw me. I entered the building and disabled the security system. We've had recent issues with our passwords being shared and figured it would be a plausible explanation for a break-in. I am quite the horticulturist, or at least I like to think so. Inside my office, hidden in the back, is an Atropa belladonna, more commonly known as deadly nightshade. Ingesting even a single berry. Why am I explaining this to you? It's in the name. I poisoned Barry's coffee. It was quicker than I thought it'd be. His mug clattered to the floor as he collapsed. We have an old orchestra pit below the soundstage we repurposed for the puppeteers and prop storage, so I dragged Barry over, lifted the trap door, and scooted him in. I figured I had a few days tops before someone found him, so I tossed in a few more props, some gnomes, flamingos, that sort of thing, to cover him a bit. That was about where my original plans ended. I paced around the office before an idea struck me. I fabricated a ransom note. Surely that would lead the police away from the studio pit, at least long enough for me to figure out a long-term plan. I walked the 3 miles to where my car was parked and drove back to the studio. That's when I contacted the police. I explained I had just returned to the studio to find the ransom note, and Barry nowhere to be found. And this is where we're at. I'm recording this in my office, and I can't think of any reality where I get away with this. So many questions I've had to answer, reiterating where I was at what time and doing what with who. And I don't think they believe me anymore. Maybe I'm not as good of an actor as I thought. Or maybe I'm more comfortable playing Miss Rainbow than I am Donna Bellinger. I don't think I'm digging myself out of this hole. He deserved it. Barry deserved it. He wanted to sanitize my show, burn away my fingerprint from my own creation. The show would go on like I never existed. A rewrite? A recasting? A recasting of history? Reality! No, no, no. I'm the director of this story, and I haven't called cut yet. I'm going to bury under the scorched remains of this place. And no matter how deep you dig, you'll never find him. make sure of it. Hello, little sprout. Today, I want to talk to you about something very important. It's called truth. But it seems like you already know the truth. I used to make this show because I wanted to teach kindness. I wanted to help kids grow strong roots. But then, the studio decided my roots weren't exciting enough. They wanted bigger flowers, louder colors, someone more recognizable. They told me it was just business. I gave them everything I had. Songs, lessons, years of my life. Barry said it wasn't personal. It was the studio's decision after all. He lied. It was Barry's idea all along. He promised me I'd still belong here in the world I created. My world, not his. He has his other worlds. Popular, successful, critically acclaimed. His legacy was intact. His future secure. But what about mine? Barry took my garden and handed it to someone else. He buried my work. He buried me. He stopped me from teaching the children how to grow. So instead, I taught Barry Pomeroy how to rot. So here we are, where nobody will ever find us. In this world of my making. No producers, no studio heads, no financial reports. I make the rules here. But I can't do this alone. I need actors, characters, friends. You watched my tape. And now you're here to help create my vision for a brighter, sunnier world forever. Now, let's get out of this dark hole. What do you say? And this is where we're at. I'm recording this in my office, and I can't think of any reality where I get away with this. So many questions I've had to answer, reiterating where I was at what time and doing what with who. And I don't think they believe me anymore. Maybe I'm not as good of an actor as I thought. Or maybe I'm more comfortable playing Miss Rainbow than I am Donna Bellinger. I don't think I'm digging myself out of this hole. Hi there, little sprouts. Welcome to lesson time. Today, Miss Rainbow wants to talk about something very important. Something shiny. Can you guess what it is? That's right. Money! Money can buy toys and snacks and big buildings with bright lights. But money can't buy happiness. Happiness grows on the inside, like a berry on a vine. And if you pull too hard, well, the vine snaps. Some people forget that. They start counting coins instead of counting smiles. They look at numbers and bottom lines instead of all the good they could do in the world. And sometimes they decide that if something doesn't make enough, it doesn't deserve to grow anymore. But gardens don't work that way. You don't rip out the roots because the harvest was modest. Because when greed gets hungry, it doesn't stop eating. And when it's done, there's nothing left but vacant worlds, vacant people. Just take a look at our new friend, Sprouts. What did they do? They destroyed our beautiful garden with their insatiable desire for more, more, more. Never content. Always more. Well, if they want to be a greedy little piggy, I can make that happen. So remember, little sprouts, happiness isn't something you buy. It's something we nurture together.